Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horrible Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Drew.
And with us tonight is...
Lona.
Hey
Yes.
Hey there.
Hi,
Fancy,
how are
fancy
you?
lady. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Great. That's great to hear. Excellent.
Yeah.
Is that it? Are we done?
I think that's the
Thanks
podcast.
for joining us.
We've already kind of had a pre-podcast. We kind of pre-gamed a little too much, I think. So we left a lot of hot juice on the pre-recording, which might end up on the website.
Disgusting sounding.
It
Yeah,
is
that may be
really
worse than
gross.
anything
It
I've...
sounds
It's
awful.
the porn. It's the porn era. That's what we're in. So it might end up on the website somewhere. But yeah, we're coming in hot.
Pornera sounds like a terrible 80s band.
Pornera.
Pornera.
Instead of porn era, pornera.
Yeah, Pornera. Yeah.
For a while, when I was in high school, when I was drawing sweet metal albums covers in my notebooks, at one time I had this awesome band name. It was Elias, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so fucking. I had like this Satan-eaten earth kind of thing, and then I realized it was just the word alias. And
You just made it an E.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Elias or
I felt
a
bad.
Y, Elias. I think you could have done that. That works. I mean, you were just like 20 years ahead of your time because I mean that's what everything is now is misspelled. Like people misspell shit all the time on purpose.
As teachers, do you get
I'm not a teacher. I don't know what you're talking about.
you get kids writing stuff in shorthand, like text, like you are for your?
I can't
Kids-
speak to that question because I don't
Kids
teach.
just can't really spell.
I gotcha.
I mean,
I-
no one
Well,
reads, so if
yeah.
you don't read, you have no idea. I mean, if
I
you don't
work-
read anything that's correct, you don't do that. But it's not like I teach Prince or something and they write I, you,
Symbol.
I work with people who can't spell, so I imagine that the kids.
think
That,
everyone
no one
does.
can spell. Adults can't spell. Like
Right.
you'd be surprised. Like it's so surprising how many adults go like, I can't spell that. Like what? You got a degree in a thing.
I can't imagine how annoying I must be at work when I walk by stuff. I'm like, hey, that's misspelled.
Is that something that happens?
Yes, 3 people checked it already. I was like, well, then those 3 people are dumb.
Actually,
They
I had a
are
student, she was
stupid.
working so hard on this project last few days, and I walked over to her and said, federalism has an A there.
What was it?
Ooh,
Federalism.
Federal.
Just
Federal.
lost the A, and she's like, and I was like, it's fine. I'm not going to fail you because of it.
she's like, but you know what you could have done instead of saying it like that? So you could have said, hey, you could have started that off with, hey, I really like your project. You misspelled one thing, but no, you had to shit on it immediately.
Oh no, I'd already told her good things about it.
Yeah, but you're like that person that comes outside after the grass is cut and is like, oh, that's great. Are you going to weed eat too? I just got finished cutting the grass.
One time in college.
By this person, you mean your wife? I'm assuming.
I'm a wife.
One time in college, I wrote a short story about a little kid who was afraid of the boogie monster and wouldn't go to sleep, but I kept spelling doze off at DOSE, and I didn't realize it until I turned my first draft into a friend, and he was like, you realize that it's DOSE or DOZE and not DOSE because you were taking drugs if you're dosing. That's my humiliating spelling story. Lona, what's yours?
Lost to think it all said Dio at that point.
Dio. Lona, what's your embarrassing spelling story?
Well, I don't really have one personally because I'm like
Spells perfectly.
I'm the 4th grade county champion spelling bee for person from like 1980 whatever, 90 whatever.
90.
But,
Let's go 90.
I did. Today was the last day of school, and so they sent home a packet yesterday of all the 3rd grade stuff that my kid had done, and they just learned how to write in cursive, and so he had written this really beautiful essay about how much he enjoyed 3rd grade. INJOYED throughout the whole thing,
And you
so
tore him apart, didn't you?
oh well, we burnt the letter,
You
and I
whipped
told him
him.
to try harder.
It's the first time you've ever spanked your child.
Oh,
4th
no.
grade, you're not fucking around.
God damn it, we are spillers in this house.
I sent him to his grandfather's. I was like, you can't even stay here with me. Go.
Find your own way there. Maybe you will enjoy it.
Hopefully, you can spell the sign that will get
Right.
you there correctly.
Oh,
Aw,
man.
it was cute. It was cute. I didn't
Yeah.
even tell him.
At that age, it is. When
Yeah.
an adult does it, not as cute.
It's not
But see, here's the
stupidity
thing, though.
at that
At what point do you say, that's really cute, babe, but let's talk about it, because you don't want to crush their spirits, but
Let's say before high school.
High school.
Yeah, let's set an end date on that at high school.
Let's speak about. Hey, speaking of parents and kids, Maggie.
Yeah. Right.
Night.
Yeah.
Maggie, starring Arnold.
30 seconds.
It's whoa, that movie. Let's talk about it. Whoa.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I thought it started really strong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I thought it jumped in, and I like this whole idea. As I liked Arnold being the idea of Arnold as a protective dad. I like Arnold accepting his age and everything, and he's aged pretty gracefully compared to, say, like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And I like that idea. It had this very much. I thought it was going to be like The Last of Us. Really early on, it looks like it's going to be all right. He's going to be protecting his daughter in some sort of. They're going to have some attempt to get somewhere, because these movies, it's always going somewhere. And then they went to Hawkeye's farm and stayed there the rest of the time.
I said that it was like The Road meets Sarah Plain and Tall.
If there was no road, and it was just a house they stayed
down
at.
here too. I had they're trying to be as depressing as The Road, but failing.
Yeah, it just, man, there was something about that movie. Like, I was with it. I was like, I love this. At first, like, I imagined that my whole spiel about this episode was going to be how much I enjoyed Arnold Schwarzenegger's recent turn into these like really just low budget genre movies, but then the movie got about halfway through and I completely turned on it and was just like, oh my god, do something. Like, this movie has nothing going on in it.
And that's the problem. It never the only place it goes is at the beginning, and then it gets to where it's going, and then stays there and never goes anywhere else at all.
It's it's depressing. It's depressing for all the wrong reasons. Like, it's depressing because it doesn't do the things that it sort of should do to make a good movie. No. Like, pacing was waived. Like, the thing about Arnold Schwarzenegger is that he was a genre movie guy who happened to become like the biggest movie star on the planet at some point. Like, he always made sort of genre movies. I mean, Terminator and Predator and all these things, they just happen to be like crazy big movies. Terminator is a pretty genre movie. It's just he became the biggest movie star on the planet. So this isn't that far afield from the sort of stuff he made. It's just not good.
I'm also tired of zombies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and this had nothing new to add to it. Like, I think it thought it did at first.
The necroambulist virus? Come on.
I don't even think that's it. Sorry, go ahead, Lona.
No, this whole thing that was like casual zombies.
Yeah.
The whole movie, everyone was just casual with the zombies. The whole idea that, oh, look, you're a zombie now. It just, I don't know. Like, I like my zombies with like slightly more concern.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take a meal with my pet zombie.
Right.
You know?
I didn't like the whole idea that there was like, okay, we have like 2 to 6 weeks that this could take place in. It's going pretty fast for her.
I do like it. I just don't like how it was executed here. I like that. I mean, in another movie, it might have worked, but in this one, it totally 100% did not. It just, there was something about the way this movie was paced and written that just made it like it is ostensibly a family drama with some zombies laid on top of it. Like, it's kind of a stenciled in zombie movie.
For a while, I didn't even realize that Jolie Richardson was his wife. I was like,
yeah, Miss Nip Tuck.
Yeah, I just remember her from Lady Chatterley.
Just a woman dressed like a Duggar wandering through the house looking concerned.
I mean, did they really think that reveal that late was surprising?
That she's the stepmom?
That's not her daughter? I mean, I knew that from the beginning. It seemed exactly like that was the case.
She's 2 younger, very much younger kids.
Yeah.
She referred to her by her first name.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of a giveaway.
But then they have that reveal later, like, oh, what? Oh, yeah,
I love her
get it
like
now.
my own kid.
The twist in this film is that it's not my first wife.
I had a wife before.
But she is your daughter. You treat her like your daughter.
Let's get to the twister.
Where are the zombies? Get me to the zombies.
Like The Road, like in the movie The Road, or even in the book, how they mentioned like there was always that sound of like the trees cracking in the distance and like the rumbling, just insanity that's happening around them. It's happening in this film too. There's like constant thunder going on in this movie, and there's never a storm.
I would say that is a great metaphor for this movie. That there's a lot of thunder, but no actual storm.
I'm writing that down since now on our website we can put the little like line underneath. It's like, like I put like deers or the Uber of the forest last week. I put that. A lot of thunder, but no storm.
Yeah, like I think that's actually a really great statement about the entirety of this film. That it's a whole lot of thunder with no storm. Like there are a couple moments where you have zombies, and the most glaring problem about this film is that it takes itself entirely too seriously for what it actually is. And it reminds me of this movie I saw this. All right, there was an HBO movie in the 90s with a kid who was later in American Pie. The guy who dated Tara Reid in the first one.
Thomas Ian Nicholas?
Yes.
Jesus.
That's a quick pull, my friend. Jesus Christ.
Was he Little Big League or Rookie of the Year?
Yes, he was in Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
He was in Rookie of the Year. Okay. Little Big League was, God, who was that?
I don't know. I always remember
Jonathan
one of those
Taylor
two.
Thomas.
No, not JTT.
No, JTT wouldn't sync to baseball movie. No, anyway.
Sync to it now.
He was the man of the house.
Yeah, he was the man of the house. So it was a movie. It was an HBO movie. It was like a made-for-HBO movie. And the premise was it was about a kid who had HIV, and it was like him coming to terms with it with his best friend. It's called Blood Brothers, I think.
Oh, I remember that one.
Do you remember it?
The guy was like, AIDS boy, and they chased him out of the yeah, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, and at the end of the movie, instead of like shaking hands, like I don't know why it was ever a thing to cut your hand and then shake hands with somebody. That's fucking crazy.
Always in all those coming of age movies, Blood Brothers. Yeah,
but instead at the end
Blood Brothers.
I love it. At the end, they prick their fingers rather than finger their pricks.
It is done.
And they squeeze out blood on the like. That was the whole like. I actually really liked it as a kid because I was like, I want to be sympathetic to people who are suffering. But this movie reminds me a lot of that, where it's just like
it reminds me nothing of that.
It's very like melodramatic.
At the end of the HBO movie, they played Elton John's last song as that guy lied dying in his hospital bed.
I don't think it went that far.
Are you now just into what is the Bruce Davison movie, Longtime Companion?
No, I'm actually doing band played on the other HBO film.
Oh, okay, yeah.
the another HBO film about AIDS.
Yeah, God, I forgot about that.
You were talking about Gia, another HBO film about AIDS.
Yeah, all these movies we're just naming AIDS movies.
Or that movie, the Ryan, whatever that guy's name,
Ryan White.
Ryan White story, the other HBO film about AIDS.
Was that HBO or was that just a regular TV movie?
Let's go along with it, Drew.
How did that ruin it?
I'm sure they showed it on HBO at some point. They didn't.
I agree with everything you're saying. I think one of the biggest, and that's still the biggest problem with the movies. I think you have a great premise here with the idea of Arnold protecting the daughter, and you just need to put there to be something that he's protecting her from. We don't even need to have him be a big action star, but one of the greatest scenes in the movie, and that's why I say it starts out pretty strong and just gets weaker as it goes, is when they stop at the convenience store and he just goes to the bathroom and he runs into the zombie and he has to fight back. He's like, oh, that's what this movie's going to be about. That's going to be awesome.
You are right about that, because that didn't
not
leave
that
kind of high hopes at that point.
It was almost like Dawn of the Dead-esque.
But isn't that also like one of the biggest problems I had is that throughout the entire movie, there wasn't ever a point for me where it wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was never just Wade because, the Czechoslovakian dad named Wade out in the middle of God knows where.
Austrian.
Yeah, whatever. They're all the same thing. But the whole time I was watching it, he's never not himself.
Right.
And so you're just always waiting for him to rip someone's head off. And you just, that's what he does.
I have a hard time believing Arnold Schwarzenegger is a father in real life.
Me too. Like,
could you imagine like him yelling at you and just not laughing the whole time he's yelling at you?
Why do not you? I can't even do it now. Like,
you come home from school with those at C, not C family.
Actually, we are, Dad. You are a C. You're a C student, Dad. You were.
You're making C grades.
I'm gonna get in Tommy Wiseau style there a little bit.
You talk to him, Maria, and then he like just goes off in Austrian, like he. And for a man who's been in this country for damn near 50 years, he can't. Like, he hasn't lost any of his accent.
None. It's weird.
But there's no I mean, that would be the worst thing in the world. An accentless Arnold would.
Yeah.
What would be the purpose? Then he'd be Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's all. Dolph Lundgren was American Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was all he was.
Dolph Lundgren is totally, isn't he Russian?
No, that's Ivan Drago.
Also,
he is in Mensa though.
He's really fucking smart.
Yeah, he's a PhD.
Isn't he like a rocket scientist or something?
He's super brilliant.
Yeah.
And he probably is from somewhere else. You're right, but he was like Arnold without an accent is what he always seemed like.
He's really brilliant, but has just made really poor career choices. That's his biggest problem.
There's also. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. Well, I mean, the thing is, going back to Arnold, the one thing that Arnold has that a lot of these other big actions, not even big, these other wannabe action stars didn't have is, even while he's never been the strongest, actor, he's still not bad, but there's a charisma about him that's super strong and compelling. It's what I noticed when he finally came back in movies again for the first time, and
like The Last Stand, and
and Escape Plan, and all these things. Like he's just still so charismatic compared to this. It's like that's why he was a big star. There's just something about him that a lot of people don't have, and I felt that in this movie too. But they just didn't let him do enough with it.
I think this was him. Like, this was a range movie. Do you know, it was like he's trying to stretch his range or something like that. And it just didn't. There wasn't enough for him. There wasn't enough for any of the characters to do. Like, it was very ponderous, and I think what happened was that the filmmakers thought that for some reason we would all have something to think about while they were staring off in the distance, but there wasn't enough there. Like, there wasn't enough backstory there. There wasn't enough character motivation there for us to as they look. The movie we keep comparing it to is The Road, but during that movie, I could actually see what. I could actually think about what what's his name, Aragorn, was thinking about during that movie. I just didn't hear, I couldn't imagine what Arnold was thinking, except how will I do this with my dog? I just don't
think about the directors that Arnold Schwarzenegger has worked with too, and then you have this guy who's coming from video game title making.
What?
The guy who directed it, Henry
Resistance 3.
Yeah, he's made video games. He's worked a lot on credit sequences in video games. Mm-hmm. Also makes an independent film with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's worked with
Cameron,
John McTiernan,
yeah. All of these
James Cameron,
basically every director from that
Chuck Russell,
ridiculous amount of people, and this kid is probably
I'm trying to think of anybody else now.
Your motivation here is that you're sad your daughter's dying. That really is the only.
I went with Paul Michael Glazer.
It's the only emotional note in this film is your daughter's dying of zombie stuff.
And he's like, I want to dress like an American man over 55. You know how when they turn over 55, they
wear Henleys.
They all have to wear chambray shirts too.
Chambray.
Do you remember Boy Meets World? I want to dress like Alan, the father. Yeah, the Henleys. That's what I think I should dress like.
That's not a bad
argument. The last 10 years of my life, I have not seen my dad in anything but a denim chambray shirt from the months of September to April. Every picture he's in, I go there, he's always got some kind of denim on. Light denim.
It's pretty crazy.
Big denim has really just captured the dad market.
And denim is big with hipsters, so it's where there's a convergence there. On the Venn diagram, there's some overlap. It's just a different kind of denim, it seems. I think my dad still has his Wrangler jackets. I could get those.
I want to know what a jacklet is.
A jacklet.
Awesomer.
That's the shorter, sassier one.
Oh, yeah. It's not a whole jacket. It's the one that's it's cut right under your armpits. It's a jacket.
Cropped to show your shape.
Yeah.
So it's the one it's the dad who wears the jacket that's too small.
Yeah. It's a jacklet.
The other thing that bothers me about this film, and I think we'll get to that point in zombie lore or the zombie mythos, that we've run out of so many ideas for zombies. We're dealing with I want to deal with zombies on how would my family deal with someone.
Yeah.
Well, it's an anthropological view of zombies.
Right.
Yes.
This whole movie was like a case study in how if the zombie virus took over the country, how we could responsibly and humanely deal with them instead of the mass chaos that would probably actually happen.
Which is a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's still a thing. I think that's what the filmmakers thought they had was their original take on it, and that they thought they really had something that was different in that sense. And that's where I just think they were wrong. I mean, really, okay, so maybe it is a little different way and different take to get into this very familiar subgenre.
And when I'm siding with the cops, like, yes, get them out of there. They are
that one cop. He always plays a bad cop. I
liked when he took
deputy
the diving plunge at Arnold.
Yeah. Who's doing that? That's just dumb.
This is really just a remake of Old Yeller, but with people.
Holy shit! That's
No, he doesn't kill his. He doesn't have to kill his daughter.
Right, because because the dog could commit suicide.
Yeah, that's
Old Yeller couldn't sit there and say, "I won't make him do that."
Hey, listen, dogs can totally commit suicide. I got one today. It hung itself over a bridge.
But if Old Yeller was sentient enough to kill himself instead of he would have. I think that's it.
He loved his boy. He got rabies for his boy. He would have killed himself for his boy.
That's right. I agree with you, Lona. Thank you.
My work here is done.
So yeah, I mean, this movie just doesn't, like you said, it doesn't add anything to zombie lore. It feels like stuff that Romero did 30 years ago. Like, there was already that sort of humanitarian. I mean, there was already the humanitarian aspect of it, and they've gone, like, we've done so much stuff with zombies that now really, like Lona said, the anthropological issue, like, how do we deal with caring for, I mean, like, that's the next thing. Like, I mean, that's all really that's left. I mean, we've done all manner of zombies, from slow zombies to fast zombies. We've done zombies that can fall in love with the movie Warm Bodies. We've done all manner of zombies. So I guess, like, we are eking out the very last dark corners of what can, like, be imagined for zombies. And this just didn't work.
Zombie juice.
I'm surprised.
Care and maintenance.
I'm surprised that Romero didn't go this angle with any of them. That would have been an interesting take to see him do, like, Family of the Dead or something of that nature.
Ooh.
I mean, something where he took that idea of how does one individual family deal with it. And I'm sure he would have done it in a more interesting, socially, critical way as he likes to do. So that would have been an interesting. I wish this had honestly just been more generic and really just ripped off The Last of Us, which I thought it was going to do. I wish that had been what it had done, and had been him on the road taking his daughter to the quarantine and having to protect her on the way there, or the cure that he thought he was going to find, or something of that nature.
It would have totally been more like a lot sadder if that was it. Like, having to have that last hurrah with his daughter. Like, hey,
And it would have played into Arnold's strengths better, while still letting him be the concerned dad that I think, that he wanted to be in this. Although, let's face it, he's got concerned dad down commando.
Right.
And, it could have been even like a crazy thing where he's like taking his daughter across. He has to save her. She runs into some ruffians, and, in the middle of a sexual assault, he's like, do your thing. And then she goes zombie on him and bites the shit out of him.
That sounds awful. Actually, that's didn't work at all.
That's very dark.
We're cutting that one from the movie.
The other angle they could have gone, like,
I'm writing the script.
Do it. We'll film it. Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Let's do it. I think the other angle of this that could have worked is everyone in this movie is entirely too amenable. Like, everyone is entirely too nice in this film. Like, there is no antagonist in this film except the perpetual, like, the turn into death. So, like, if it had been like change the daughter or something, or make Arnold he doesn't have to come to accept it. Like, he accepts his daughter from the very beginning of the movie. Like, there is no emotional arc for any of these characters at all, because even the mom, like Jolie Richardson at one point says, like, I love her as much as my own kid. Like, there isn't even an emotional arc for her. Like, she doesn't even really have to deal with it. She kind of gets annoyed when the daughter cuts her goddamn finger off, which anyone would, like, imagine Jackson doing that. You'd be like, oh, you got this on the chicken. Go upstairs. Think about your finger.
Oh, I got it. And the fact, little side note, when that quote unquote maggot she finds, it's not a maggot, it's a super worm. I feed those to Falcor all the time.
What? What's the difference?
One is brown and the other one is white.
Okay, there you go.
One's a maggot and one's not a maggot.
One's a maggot, one's a super worm.
Sorry, Drew, hold on. Before we move on, are you going to change her name to Falcora now?
No, I started calling her Falcor.
Ah, I'm with you.
That Jackson's like, what's that mean? I'm like, you'll know.
One day, son.
Yeah, Alex.
Drew, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, I mean, I agree. I think that Jolie Richardson should have left with the kids to begin with. Like, I didn't even understand her purpose in staying at that point. She should have followed the kids off. Like, there's no, like, the rest of the movie should have been Arnold. If this is the route we're going to take, it should have been Arnold and Maggie in the farmhouse. And you're right. The authorities should have come in earlier and now I want to turn it into a John Carpenter movie as an antagonistic force trying to get him out of the house or something like that with his daughter, and he refuses to. You can't take, he's getting all to be all Arnold-y and getting,
you can't take that away from me.
And I have a title for it. It would be Assault on Precinct 13-year-old.
Terrapin could do a tie-in called Maggie's Farmhouse Ale.
Yes.
I just think, and the problem is, I thought with Maggie a lot of the time is she's more plot device than character for most of the movie, and then all of a sudden she became the major character. I mean, it's like we were dealing with Arnold, and then all of a sudden we spent a lot of time with Maggie, and she started hanging out with her friends, and then it just never really did anything. I mean, that's like, I agree with you there. Like,
they tried to make a social commentary too about the guy at the party started talking about how you can't trust a man what's made of zombies, or can't trust a man what's made of rotten flesh. And they're like, well, how would you do it? If it was you, how would you do it?
It's just a movie that's made, like, Brian, like you're saying, you have the one kind of asshole character, but everyone here is just made to, like, accept everything and be fine with it. And they're, like, if they're going to have the fire, like, the scene around the campfire, someone should have gotten into a fist fight.
Someone should have tried to kill the zombies.
Right.
Okay, because just on the basic idea of them being teenagers.
Yeah.
As a 16-year-old, would you have been like, oh, I'm going to go pick up my zombie best friend and drive her over to the beach to hang out?
Was she hot?
She a hot zombie?
There's the...
I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know. No, she's just average. She's fine.
She's fine. Like,
well,
so then it becomes...
Don't have to worry about getting her pregnant.
Right. Well, and it
also
also...
supposed to be Chloe Grace Moretz originally.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's one thing I read. Said she was one of the original people.
I thought it was. Yeah, I also thought she was supposed to be in the movie. No, I thought it was supposed to be her as well.
Gotcha.
No, they originally cast what's her head? No, oh stop, Dakota
Fanning.
Yeah, it was her and her sister. They were cast in some. No, I'm thinking about something totally different. I'm a huge liar. Never mind.
Okay, and that has been Lona's confused moment.
I got bit by a brown recluse. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm all fucked up.
Stop taking in old people.
Yeah. I get it.
She's so cute.
I thought, and I think Abigail Breslin is fantastic. I was really glad I thought the two things that were the strengths of the movie were the performances you get from Arnold and from Abigail Breslin, and even from Jolie Richardson to a large degree. I mean, this movie only works as well as it does because the filmmakers were able to get people as talented as they got. I mean, I'm trying to imagine watching this without anyone compelling at all to watch, and it would have been really slow and painful at that point if you'd had your typical indie, unknown actors, who some of which aren't even maybe that good,
like straining to look depressed. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like there needed to be some form of conflict. It's like whoever made the movie is just like, well, we don't want to offend anybody because it's already touchy subject matter. I mean, that's his daughter. So I feel like she should have snuck out of the house, or like the cops show up at the campfire, or like something happened. The only moments of drama in the film I actually did like the few moments with the zombies, like where he had to kill his neighbors or whatever.
Yeah,
I like that.
And when the mother shows up.
Yeah, I liked when the cops, like, it was a very human moment when he, like, un-Arnold like wrestled the cop on the ground. Like that felt like a very human moment, and the movie needed more of those. Like that,
because we all know that Arnold could have just killed him.
Right. Like it was nice to see him though. Like also something that really bugged me, we didn't get to earlier, but him chopping firewood was only like a second, but it was cringe. The way that he held the axe and chopped the wood was cringe inducing. Did you guys notice that at all?
You can tell that he's just ripped wood apart with his hands his whole life.
He's never used an axe because he didn't need one.
I don't know how to use this implement with this wood.
If it's not an AK-47, he doesn't need it for chopping wood.
I thought it would have been better.
Of the chopping wood scene.
What?
I'm so tired of the chopping wood scene.
Yeah.
Oh my god. We get it.
Drew, talk more about that. I'm actually interested in that.
Avengers.
What's the last movie you saw?
There's so many. We had seen every movie. We get it. Wood needs to be chopped.
You
Someone's going to do it.
I don't
see that. People have to poop as well. We don't see that.
Here's my wood chopping scene in every movie. Fuck that noise.
Yeah, I think people put it in because they think that's what people do, but most people just buy wood already corded and chopped. Like no one really, like
or they ask their friend's dad to bring it over.
Yeah, like you just get wood. I guess.
Yeah.
Some people still chop their own wood. You just get it. Get it.
Somebody has to chop the wood that you buy. Someone's out there chopping.
I guess that's Arnold. Arnold is chopping wood to sell. I'd actually almost rather see that movie than this movie.
That's what his farm was.
Yeah. Instead of seeing a movie where he chops wood once, don't have a zombie movie and just have him chopping wood and selling it to other people. I think I'd rather have seen that.
He just goes out to his little farm and he's like a widower and he's all sad and he's going to reclaim himself by just learning to chop the pain away.
I have to get to the chop.
Awesome.
We
said this whole podcast is one long.
I know. I just think like if this movie was too like in the middle bullshit, like it either needed to be a really emotional movie, which I think it strived to be.
I think that's what I thought it was.
Or a horror movie, and it wasn't. It was neither a horror movie nor a really compelling drama.
I think it would have been better if they'd kept the little kids there and she tried to eat them.
Yes.
I had wondered about that early on. It's like, I mean, I get that she's your daughter, but you're really going to bring the little kids into a situation with her? That seems poor parenting.
This is a move where the smart moves don't make for a good movie.
Well, we already know they're poor parents. I mean, she got away and ran into the city for some reason.
I also felt like was she like on her Rumspringer? I mean, what she just why was they seemed very Mennonite-esque? Like, what decade was it in the country as opposed to the city?
The Quiverful Christians.
Jolie Richardson looked like she was from the 1950s. 60s or so. It was like Labor Day in the farmhouse.
Did she go to the city because she got bit, or did she run away to the city and get bitten there? Because I wasn't clear on that.
Bit there.
I think you got bit in the city because once you go in the city, all the bad things happen. You stay out past 10.
She
get bit by zombies.
Maggie in the city. Things go awry.
Boom. That's the sequel.
Maggie's Rumspringa.
Yeah.
How come they haven't made a horror movie called Rumspringa yet?
Have they not?
I bet they have.
I'm pretty sure.
As I said that, I thought to myself, I was like, I know they have.
They have to have.
Like, guys, write us and let us know if there's a movie
called
The
Rumspring Horror.
No, it would be called Red Rumspringa. Get it?
No.
Yeah.
Boom. Red Rumspringa. Okay, all right. That's my attempt at humor. So much is wrong. Like, we could just go through the myriad things. Like, it was only a few clicks away from good, though. Like, it only needed a few more things to be good. They just, they extricated themselves from any sort of drama here. Like, if she's the kind of kid who would sneak away and then get bitten while in the city, she's the kind of kid who would cause a little bit of trouble. But, I guess she was... they wanted us to feel sorry for her, which is never good in a character. Like, a character needs a trait that separates her from the rest of people. Like, what happens is they wanted us to feel sorry for her, and then that's how we have pathos, but that's not how it works in a movie.
Well, how sympathetic is a zombie?
Well, and what did she do anything that made us sympathetic with her except pity her?
She scratched her spot a lot. I guess I was supposed to feel bad for her.
She chopped off her finger. Like, she didn't really do anything that would make any sane movie goer go like, oh man, she's a good character.
after she got bit, she didn't whatever she ran away from the house to the city. That the argument, whatever, or the thing that made her run didn't continue at the house. Like if there was some kind of strife because of the stepmother, or if there was some boyfriend that broke up with her, there was no continuation of what made her leave in the first place.
She's recently found
I don't
out
know
she
if
was
we
having to
have-
go to that college where they were doing the vaginal checks. Did you
What?
see that in the news?
What?
She ran away because of that. Then there was a problem.
Transvaginal, what is it?
Vaginal mesh.
I don't trust any of these characters anyway because I suspect they're all Republicans.
Well, I thought
Joey Richardson was listening to right-wing radio, and like we're supposed to like not like those people who are talking on the radio, but I bet Arnold would agree with them in real life, which is funny.
Arnold's your old school. He's less a social, Republican. He's more a fiscal conservative than a social conservative.
That's what they all
He's
like to
not a
say.
Goldwater Republican.
I'm a fiscal conservative.
Which is, which is what real Republicanism is until the Goldwaters, like you just mentioned, took over. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. One of the notes I wrote down just because I was so bored was, I wonder what Arnold Schwarzenegger thinks of Sean Hannity.
I wonder what I would do with 2 weeks left to live. I sure as hell wouldn't spend it probably with my
On
parents.
a farm.
Sulking.
Like she did.
But that's the only reason she didn't have to go to a quarantine. So
Yeah.
That's true. But at the same time, I'd kind of be like,
I don't think you got a choice.
I probably would sulk.
It would depend on if I were becoming a zombie. I probably wouldn't go anywhere because someone would shoot you in the head.
Not until you zombied out.
No,
They'd
they'd
no
probably
one in
take
this
it.
movie seemed concerned though. They were like, aside from the time when they were in the doctor's office and the mom is like, "Okay, let's come here." But I would have done that if she just had sniffles.
Right. If she had the flu.
There's no level of real concern.
Or the
that hand had to smell that bite.
Oh, and then the most touching part when you think she's gonna take a chunk out of Arnold's head and she just kisses him.
Also, I like the other aspect of this is that this world feels very small, and we don't get the full sort of run of the problematic aspect of what's going on. Like we kind of get some news reports, but we don't actually get like what's wrong with all of this. Like what the world's on.
Because I've just recently read it. It reminded me of the Gets from the Deep, like just this kind of one thing that's going around. People are dying from it, but it hasn't. It's affected the world kind of.
Yeah.
People are still going on with their lives, though.
Which I think, like, the realism of that, like, I think I understand that that's what their aspirations were in this movie, was to go, like, here's a more realistic portrait of how they would deal with it. It wouldn't just be, like, masses. It wouldn't be the Night of the Living Dead where people are just like, roaming the field shooting people in the head. I don't
know. I'm pretty sure that's how it would go around here.
I don't know, man.
I feel like there would be more chaos, more concern.
Yeah, this seems like.
But then again, you don't know how many. There's never any point where they're like, "Oh, this virus started 6 weeks ago, and we just happened to be ready to mobilize." This could have been going on for like 25 years, and they're just all cool with it at this point.
I think we're some time removed from it. Like I don't think this is just happening. I think we are some time removed from it. So I feel like we have gone into, like, this is how we deal with it in a sort of, like, governmental way. Like, this is the most humane way to deal with it. But that's not... The way that they did not make for interesting fiction. It just didn't. So, I mean, like, that's just it. Like, the movie just doesn't work because it... Like, if you're going to have a family drama, like, there has to be drama. I mean, watch movies that do that aspect of it well. I mean...
And by drama, you mean Kevin Dillon.
Yeah, that's
right.
what I was thinking.
Johnny Drama. I saw, actually, way off topic, but I saw Mad Max this weekend, and that was one of the trailers. I was like, this is at least 7 years too late.
Or too early.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, why? I was like, is this 2007?
It just felt so like, ooh, this does not feel like a thing that anyone cares about.
Did you finish watch? Or you watched Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, right?
I never finished it. I watched parts of it.
I haven't watched it.
Her gay black roommate. That's how he's training to be a straight guy, and his parts was he's trying to get cast for Entourage too.
Yes. Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yes.
The best part of all this, there is no Entourage 2. There is no Entourage 2.
That show gets a lot of hate, but it was really popular. I watched the first three or four
And
seasons.
I watched
of it.
the whole thing, and there were seasons that were good, but by the end, they were fairly unlikable kind of deal. But I mean,
I did
it was
not
one of those
care
things I
about Vinny
finished.
Chase.
Vinny
It
Chase.
was always more about E.
Yeah.
And Turtle.
Yeah. No.
I have
Not
a
as
funny
much.
story about Turtle. At the film festival, Mark Cavino was like, I guess they were trying to finish up a band called Death,
Mhm.
and he goes, we made some joke about Entourage, and he's talking about the guy who plays Turtle. He goes like,
Jerry Ferrara.
Jerry Ferrara is like, it's like you can make fun of it, but I was at a party with Jerry Ferrara one night, and I said that he would ask me what I did, and I told him what we were doing the documentary on, and he's like, oh man, that sounds amazing. I'd like to see that. He's like, yeah, well, we need like $150,000 to kind of finish it up. He pulled out his checkbook and wrote it right there and gave it.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's crazy. Whoa.
Yeah. So Turtle's got
He's
mad.
not a bad dude, He just
That show though is like, I mean, it's really. This isn't the
It's
Entourage
brawsome.
guys. It's what?
It's brawsome.
Yeah, it kind of just has this era of like, yeah, this is how you should treat people, and I don't know.
Is that brosome?
Yeah. But like
It's-
bra.
brothel? It's brothel. Anyway, so yeah, like as far as the ending
Very
goes,
obvious that Entourage is a male show.
yeah, it's definitely
The
like
male Sex in the City.
yeah.
Did you not watch Entourage, Lana?
Oh no, I did.
What'd you think? Are your feelings hurt? Is that why you're being silent?
No.
Or some good shit? Like most of America have just gone silent on it.
No, I mostly watched Entourage because I would like to have sex with Jeremy Piven, and that's
What?
pretty much it.
Fair enough.
Like I didn't care about anything else. I find angry, screaming people really attractive, and so I just wanted to bang him the whole time. So I don't.
Well,
One
there
of
you
the parts
go.
of the show is when they decided that he was so important that he kind of rose from the entertaining, supporting character to one of the main focuses of the show, which obviously the movie is going to continue with. And that became one of the problems with the show. Is like it was one of those characters that less was more.
Yeah.
like you were waiting you wanted to see, you waited around
First
for
few
an arc.
seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
RE scenes are great, and then all of a sudden it's like the show revolved almost around him.
Yeah.
I was fine with
Too
that.
much.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
I mean, sexually speaking,
yeah,
I
that's good.
was down with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I even watched Mr. Selfridge now, and it's not even any good.
Is
you
it
know?
not?
I don't
But-
really like
but it's
it, but he's
on-
hot. He's hot, and
on
he's all wearing
PBS.
but he's wearing like olden man clothes, and I'm all like, yeah, I'd hit that too. So it's
How's it
great.
not good it's on PBS. It's all good on PBS, right? That's all classic like literature
Is it a
movies.
TV
and
Is it a
stuff.
series? Or is
Yeah.
it a movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a series.
If you watch Downton Abbey, you'll see advertisements for it.
Does
He's
it,
That's
very
the only-
dapper.
It's the only way I know
It's-
it exists.
Yeah. Jeremy Piven, guys. That's where we're at.
The Jeremy Piven podcast.
I honestly don't have anything else to say about this movie except I didn't like the ending.
I was fine with the ending, actually.
I was glad it ended.
Yeah, it ended. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. Like, yeah, okay.
I like-
She saved him the
only
task
thing
of
that could
dealing
have been
with it.
better is if at the end, as she's swan diving off the top. Spoiler alert! As she's swan diving off the top of the house, is
I think we
Queens.
dealt with that when Old Yeller. We said that about Old Yeller.
Queens, Who Wants to Live Forever would have played in the background.
there you go.
We can love together. That'd have been
That can't be in anything but Highlander. Sorry.
I know that
Yeah,
would have been
exactly.
great. Like, it'd have been like a callback to Highlander.
But I like any character. I like her character getting that sort of closure and also control over her own
Yeah.
situation. Like I liked the ending. I was bored getting to it,
Yes.
and I thought more needed to happen to get there. But I was still pleased by that. I thought I liked that.
So very little happened though to lead that character to that realization. Like
Like, she
in
could've
the
come
end, she
straight
made the
home and
right
done-
choice, but in the
Yeah.
end, like, what?
She could have come straight home and done that. Like, oh, thanks
Or
for
she
picking me up. Dive.
I mean, she did
Maybe
tell
it
him
would
not
have
to
been
come
a lot
looking.
shorter.
She did tell him not to come looking for. But I mean, that's still the thing. It was Arnold. It wasn't like he was not going to come looking for her.
Well,
What's-
maybe she got bit and then left.
She could only kill herself after she saw the daisy pit because that's how she knew that everything was going to be okay on the other side.
Easy.
You know,
Yeah.
like her mom was on the other side. You know,
but
waiting
it's
for
too
her.
easy.
right.
Oh, you're right, because that's when they kicked in with Aerosmith's "Take Me to the Other Side."
Yes, that was my favorite part when the Aerosmith
You
song came.
just got to be like a zombie in the deep blue sea. Sorry.
That's awesome though. We're talking about zombies versus shark there in Zombie.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, like I agree with the ending. I just don't agree with how it got there. It just seemed like a lot of happenstance steps that made, like, I'm sure the filmmaker could make a great case for, like, no, it happened in this order because, but I don't think it translates to the audience. At least it didn't to me. I didn't get like, oh yeah, like he could have shown her that the very first, like, when they got home, like, here's your mom's thing, the thing.
Did she not know where the grave was?
No, it's the Daisy Pit. But that's not where.
Well, she referenced it because she was like, "Oh, Mama's garden" or whatever, and apparently before she ran off to the city in her Rumspringa, she had said something about like daisies will grow here or something in the corpse of my buried mother or whatever.
Blah,
and
blah, blah, blah.
they did, and love and suicide.
So anyway, that's that movie. We haven't taken a piss on a movie like this in a while.
Maybe even better than Who Wants to Live Forever. They could have done MASH's Suicide is Painless.
Nah.
Slow motion. Suicide is painless.
Well, I mean, I just think the thing is, like, there's so many movies that we watch that have less ambition and are less close to being something good. I think that's the problem with this, and the more disappointment here is there's like technically it's really well done. Yeah, it's well acted. There are ideas going on there. It just doesn't work, and so that's why. I mean, it's easier to criticize something that wants to be more serious and fails than it is to criticize some of the worst movies that we watch.
Or
but, I mean,
just
that being said,
movies that are just like paint by numbers. Here's another zombie movie would just like get bit and then a bunch of zombies and shoot a bunch of things and the end. Yeah.
That would have made this film worth it, as if Arnold had like a zombie attack came from the cornfield, and he'd just been like, I told you I'll be back, and he like pops up with a gun and just like da, 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 da,
what if she died halfway through this and the second half was just him mowing down zombies?
I'll find the zombie that did this to you.
We have to find the source zombie.
Well, you got to be careful. You don't want to kill civilians. Fuck them all.
I think that might have been more entertaining to watch, but that would have been a much worse movie.
Yeah, it would have been. Hey there. It would have been a much worse movie.
And I don't know if
Gina
that's
just
better or
walked in the
worse.
background. Yeah.
So that's the weird problem that that bad movies the conundrum they bring you with, because it's more entertaining. Does that then make it better, even though it has much less ambition and is just super generic?
This movie is contemplative. It's just not as profound as it wants to be.
If we'd gone through 45 minutes of this like emotional buildup, and then all of a sudden it changed to a fucking zombie mowdown massacre.
I think that would have, I don't think more movies should do that, but I think more movies should do that. Like, I think more movies should play with structure than they do, because there is nothing more, like, even movies that I think are pretty good, often just, you can see the third act coming a mile away, and you're like, fuck, I know that, all right, so they're having a good time, they're going to argue, they're going to get back together, there's going to be some grand gesture, or they don't get back together, and that's the end of this movie. Like, I'm so sick of that. Or, like, even with some of these comic book movies, like, I get that they're formulaic genre flicks, but, like, a lot of times you just see you're like, all right, well, okay, now we're going to have the big smash 'em up, and it's going to be entertaining, but it's, like, ultimately, you just see that shit from a mile away. Like, where's the surprise? Where's the
You're not going to
thing?
get surprised in structure playing and, a movie that's,
I know.
That they're spending that much money on.
I know, but, like,
where's risking that?
Where are the really I mean, I guess it doesn't have to work, but I don't know. Like, I just wish more movies did play with structure.
Well, this movie was like the equivalent of the 8th grade 5-paragraph theme you have to write for the writing test, you know? Like, it's just...
I got exempt from that.
Because you didn't go to school in Georgia?
Because I was in special education.
All right.
Was yours only 3 paragraphs?
What's a paragraph? What is a paragraph anyway?
What is a paragraph anyway?
Right. I don't like to put those constraints on me. On myself.
Oh, you want 5 paragraphs? Here's 1 paragraph. Take it.
Yeah, I can.
Here are no paragraphs.
Fuck you, teach.
Everything's bullet points.
My mama said that was fine. It's like that.
My mama said don't count when you write. You just write. Counts for math. And for meth.
Tex Montana has made a return. All right, guys.
Hey, we can't mention him on the
The
podcast.
long line. Yeah, we have litigation pending. We can't.
That can't happen. So
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say go see.
I won't suggest it.
I wouldn't suggest it either.
I would if you're tired and you can't go to sleep.
good help there.
If you wanted to see what the necroambulist virus was all about,
I say take an Ambien and watch
Didn't
it.
you want to know what was inside that pamphlet, though?
I would
I did like the pamphlet.
Yeah.
also recommend it to Arnold completists because I kind of wanted to watch it just because I want to watch every Arnold movie that I can
I would
as well.
actually like to meet an Arnold completist.
I've seen a lot.
You were an Arnold completist?
I've seen a lot. I
haven't seen them
I won't
all.
say everything.
I've never seen Pumping Iron.
Oh no,
I'm sure you can find it on Craigslist.
I've definitely seen
somewhere.
Hercules in New York or whatever.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Tyler, you'd actually like Pumping Iron. It's a really good film.
I know. I've just never seen it.
I saw Red Heat and Raw Deal. I went through here to watch definitely those. All the new ones.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Last Stand or Escape Plan.
Both were very entertaining. I would recommend them.
I haven't seen anything since he stopped being governor.
Last Stand I really recommend because he plays off the idea that he's old too. It's really funny.
Cool.
I liked it a lot.
Did you ever say it's not the years, it's the mileage?
I'm too old for this shit.
He doesn't. I don't think he says that. But it's close.
Does Danny Glover pop his head in? And go,
He does.
Oh.
You can't say that.
That's my
For
line.
this shit.
And now I am too old for this shit.
It's true. I really am now.
Back then, I wasn't even near retirement age, but was
That was-
retiring.
He was saying that 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was only 41, but was
Man.
too old for this shit.
I feel like right now someone should go. And all the Lethal Weapon music should come
know.
in all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Listen to this
Sweet little
atrocity.
guitar horn,
Was that Michael Kamen?
probably.
Yeah.
Michael Kamen Orchestra. Hey, Last Action Hero.
Excellent.
He did the soundtrack to that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good one.
The music has played us out and is gone. So let's end this
Talk to the
fucking
whole
atrocity. Yeah. Let's end this atrocity.
All right, guys. Let's end this abortion of a podcast.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right. You went there.
Let's pull it.
We're gonna.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Brian.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Drew.
Lona.
Lona, and I'm Lona. Yeah, that's me.
I'm playing us off. Brian, say your final lines, buddy.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
We have to get to the chopper now.
We'll be back.
Next week.
Hope doesn't act called.
All right. I'm gonna end this. Time you've ever spanked your child.
Fourth
no.
grade, you're not fucking around.
God damn it. We are spillers in this house.
I sent him to his grandfather's. I was like, you can't even stay here with me. Go.
Find your own way there. Maybe you will enjoy it.
Hopefully you can spell the sign that will get
Right.
you there correctly.
Oh,
Aw,
man.
It was cute. It was cute. I didn't
Yeah.
even tell him.
At that age, it is. When
Yeah.
an adult does it, not as cute.
It's not
See, here's the
stupidity
thing, though.
at that
what point do you say, that's really cute, babe, but let's talk about it? Because you don't want to crush their spirits, but...
Let's say before high school.
High school.
Yeah, let's set an end date on that at high school.
Let's speak about. Hey, speaking of parents and kids, Maggie.
Yeah. Right.
on movie night.
Yeah.
Maggie,
to
starring
say-
Arnold.
30 seconds.
It's whoa, that movie. Let's talk about it.
Well, that's
Whoa.
what we're here for.
Yeah.
I thought it started really strong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I thought it jumped in, and I like this whole idea. As I liked Arnold being the idea of Arnold as a protective dad.
But I kept spelling doze off at DOSE, and I didn't realize it until I turned my first draft into a friend, and he was like, "You realize that it's DOSE or DOZE and not DOSE because you were taking drugs if you're dosing." That's my humiliating spelling story. Lona, what's yours?
Lost to think that it all said Dio at that point.
Dio. Lona, what's your embarrassing spelling story?
Well, I don't really I don't really have one personally because I'm like the
Spells
fourth
perfectly.
I'm the fourth grade county champion spelling bee for person from like 1980 whatever 90 whatever
90.
But,
Let's go 90.
I did today was the last day of school, and so they sent home a packet yesterday of all the third grade stuff that my kid had done, and they just learned how to write in cursive, and so he had written this really beautiful essay about how much he enjoyed third grade. INJOYED throughout the whole thing.
And you
so,
tore him apart, didn't you?
oh, well, we burnt the letter.
You
And I
whipped
told him
him.
to try harder.
It's the first adults can't spell. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, it's so surprising how many adults go like, I can't spell that. Like, what? You got a degree in a thing.
I can't imagine how annoying I must be at work when I walk by stuff. I'm like, hey, that's misspelled.
Is that something that happens?
Yes, 3 people checked it already. I was like, well, then those 3 people are dumb.
Actually,
They
I had a
are
student, she was
stupid.
working so hard on this project last few days, and I walked over to her and said, federalism has an A there.
What was it?
Ooh.
Federalism.
Federal.
Just
Federal.
lost the A, and she's like, and I was like, it's fine. I'm not going to fail you because of it.
She's like, but you know what you could have done? Instead of saying it like that, so you could have said, hey, you could have started that off with, hey, I really like your project. You misspelled one thing, but no, you had to shit on it immediately.
Oh, no, I'd already told her good things about it.
Yeah, but like that person that comes outside after the grass is cut and is like, oh, that's great. Are you going to weed eat too? I just got finished cutting the grass.
One time in college.
But this person, you mean your wife, I'm assuming.
My wife.
One time in college, I wrote a short story about a little kid who was afraid of the boogie monster and wouldn't go to sleep.
My sweet metal albums covers in my notebooks. At one time, I had this awesome band name. It was Elias, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so fucking. I had like this Satan eating earth kind of thing, and then I realized it was just the word alias. And
Could just made it an E.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Elias or
I felt
a
bad.
Y, Elias. I think you could have done that. That works. I mean, you were just like 20 years ahead of your time because I mean that's what everything is now is misspelled. Like people misspell shit all the time on purpose.
As teachers, do you get
I'm not a teacher. I don't know what you're talking about.
You get kids writing stuff in shorthand like text, like you are for your?
I can't
Kids-
speak to that question because I don't
Kids
teach.
just can't really spell.
I gotcha.
I mean,
I-
no one
Well,
reads, so if
yeah.
you don't read, you have no idea. I mean, if
I
you don't
work-
read anything that's correct, you don't do that. But it's not like I teach Prince or something and they write I, you, and
Symbol.
I work with people who can't spell, so I imagine that the kids.
think
That,
everyone
no one
does.
can spell.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horrible Podcast. I'm Brian,
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Drew.
and with us tonight is
Lona.
Hey
Yes.
there. Hey there.
Hi,
Fancy
how are
fancy
you?
lady. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank
Oh,
you.
great. That's great to hear. Excellent.
yeah.
Is that it? Are
I
we
think,
done?
We've
I,
already-
I think that's the
Thanks
podcast.
for joining us.
We've already kind of had a pre-podcast. We kind of pre-gamed a little too much, I think. So we left a lot of hot juice on the pre-recording, which might end up on the website.
Disgusting sounding.
It
Yeah,
is
that may be
really
worse than
gross.
anything I've
Really sounds
It's
awful.
the porn. It's the porn era. That's what we're in. So it might end up on the website somewhere. But yeah, we're coming in hot.
Pornera sounds like a terrible 80s band.
Pornera,
Pornera.
pornera instead of porn era. Pornera.
Yeah, Pornera. Yeah.
For a while, when I was in high school, when I was drawing